And we are live. Good morning, good morning, good morning, South Florida, and hello, world. I am Robert Henderson Jr., President, Founder, CEO of the Henderson Financial Group located here in Miami Lakes, Florida. My co-host, Mr. James T., is having some technical difficulty, but we're going to await. We're going to continue. We're going to start the show, and when he comes on, I'll bring him from backstage. We got a great show lined up for you today. I'm a little stuffy right now. I was doing okay, and then Natalie, my wife, for 38 years, all of a sudden, in the middle of the night, she decides to turn the air condition down to probably 65 or something. I'm usually sleep with it on 74, 75. But that did it. I didn't think just because she turned the air conditioner down low, I didn't think that it was going to make me stuffy, but it did. So, hey, that's it. That's life. 38 years, you know. So I'm a little stuffy, y'all. I see my brother from another mother in the background here, Mr. James T. Let me bring him on in. Hey, James, did you hear me what I said? I'm a little stuffy the other day.
Hey, man, but you celebrated an anniversary, Rob, so you're supposed to be a little stuffy today. Hey, you've been busy doing dinner, work. You know, you've been a little overloaded, Rob. That's what that is.
She put the air conditioner down so low, man. I think it was like 60 degrees, man.
Don't go there, Rob.
Man, I woke up so stuffy, man. I'm like, holy cow. I said, Natalie, what you doing? She said, I got hot. She got hot last night. Oh, Lord have mercy.
I'm going to tell you, as my friend, I have a very dear elderly friend. I mean, he's a friend like you, Rob, but he can just tell me of his experiences. And whenever we start talking about our spouse, he says, James T., we all have one. So for those who have one, they know, and we don't want to get on the bad side of the ladies today, man, as they check in with us. But good morning. Sorry for the delay, but I have a computer that it serves many purposes. Yeah, and of course, sometimes when we don't totally reboot and restart, it acts up and be crazy. But how are you doing today?
Good. Think about computers, man. Them computers, they do what they want to do. You know, I've been going to classes, taking classes on understanding how to work AI, you know, Chat GPT and all the rest of them things, man. They got a whole lot of them. Perplexity.
Wait, Rob. Wait. Why you didn't invite the brother?
Well, somebody invited.
Learning. Oh, somebody invited you.
Yeah, somebody invited me. You know, somebody invited me. There's one coming up. I think next Friday. I'll send you the link.
Okay. I want to be on it. As a matter of fact, I'll shout out to Rick Party. I saw where he was discussing, and like another friend, Johnny Taylor. You know, we've got all these friends who are up to date on what is happening and what is coming. And I would be remiss if I didn't throw out, oh my goodness. Now I can see his face and can't call his name, but there's a young brother, man, that is not just on to what is happening now, but he's on the cusp of what is to come. Yeah. And he used to work at the studio when at CMG way back in the day, and he was always into technology. And now all these major companies, Rob, are calling him, you know, as they develop, because he is truly in his purpose, because he is a creator. You know, he's going to only where people imagine, and there's so many things that are coming up, and that's why when I texted you earlier this morning, with all the situations that we face today, and with the turbulent times economically and personally, and you know, I really do believe that we have to try to speak out to people as to, you know, what are we going to do? You know, are we just going to, you know, sit on the log and say, woe am I? Or what should we be doing to prepare for whatever comes? And usually it deals with finances, you know, because my friend Robert Henderson says there are very few problems that, you know, hey, money can't solve.
Right. 95% of your problems can be solved.
By being able just to write a check or or being able to, as they say, Zelle, whatever, however you want to do it, because you go to restaurants now, Rob, and they don't pass you a menu. They said, oh, you know, put your, here's a little card. Do that. There's the menu in your hand, and scan it. And my feeling is this: if I can scan your menu on my phone, could your little card scan what's on my phone, or download it someplace where I don't want it to be? So
probably can.
Yeah, right. Rob. I saw something, and I don't know if this is one of those AI generated things as well, but it said it was talking about some foreign country. It said that you could take it was well, I won't even say the company because it could be the country. It may be one of these AI generated things. So much stuff is on these social platforms, but it said you could remove the battery from your phone, Rob. Remove the battery from your phone, and they said we could still hear what you're saying.
Wow, that's something. That's technology. That's technology. You know, I was told in one of these classes that I attended, the last one, they said that in about a year, if you don't, it's not the AI. Yes, AI is going to replace a lot of jobs. But you could fight it if you know how to work AI. You would be you've been advantageous. In other words, you would have a plus if you know how to work Chat GPT. You know how to work it. You know how to use it. Then you becomes valuable. It's not so. Yeah, the AI is going to replace. He said we got about a year, and a lot of jobs is just going to fold up. But you yourself, if you understand how to work it and how to use it, then you make yourself valuable. You you really do. So I'm interested in that because a lot of people are just got the head in the sand and just ignoring it. But it's happening fast. Technology is happening really, really, really fast, and most people are not aware of it. And before you look up and know what happened, you're gonna say, man, what just happened? How did this? They're I got a client, man, who's been working for his company for 15 years, and they just phase out his position. Just phase it out. That's because they found, AI can do it more efficiently and they can save money.
Key.
So that's what's coming, man. I mean, so a lot of that's coming. So you need to, go on YouTube or sign up. And they got a lot of free classes, and you can start learning just how to drive this stuff and how to use this stuff at your advantage. And you can create a lot too. You can be very, very creative. That's only if you want to. I mean, if you want to be proactive, or if you just want to just sit back and just let life happen to you, then you're going to wind up with the short stick. You can't just sit back and let life happen to you. You got to be proactive. You got to be creative. You got to get involved. In other words, you got to get engaged. There's too many people that are not engaged in what's happening. And that's part of the problem, Good morning, P. Parnell Victor, my brother. Norvik, good morning, Islam. Mr. and Mrs. Redhead, Brenda Brown, good morning. Ms. James T. and myself here, we got a great show lined up for you. James, when you text me and you were saying we should talk more about during these economic times and these turbulence and all these changes that are taking place, we should really tighten up on budgeting and spending and just letting people know that, you can't just do what you've been doing. And you just can't, because things are changing. When things change, you have to change, and you have to cut back, and you have to be more smart about spending your dollars. I mean, you it's not like somebody gonna take care of you. Most people are not. Some people are fortunate, but you have to really mind your money, and you have to mind your budget, because with the tariffs taking place, the cost of goods and services are sneaking up, and they're going to cost more, from food to all kind of stuff. And you just got to really understand how far your money will go. So that means you have to, do a checkup on what you have. Where are you financially? What do you have in your house? What is coming in? What is going out? You got to pay attention. I mean, because it's not like the government is going to help you anymore, because this administration that we're in right now really trying to cut down on government helping you. It really is. And it's forcing you, if you're going to survive, to get with it and change. And most people don't like change, but you're going to have to do it in order for you to survive. Spending frivolously on stuff is one of the biggest problems that the people that are not going to make it, that's going to suffer, have. And that's because you have had a habit of just spending frivolously and not really understanding money and how you have to make it stretch. You know what I mean? I was talking with a guy and he said he had $1 million in the bank. And he said, I said, the bank don't pay you anything. And he says, he's more concerned not losing the money, so it's safe. And he says that he's going to just take out 5% every year, which is $50,000. So I said, let's just do the numbers. If you got $1 million and you need to live off $50,000 a year, that's 5%. So let's do the math. How long will that last you? Well, you figure $50,000 a year for 10 years, that's $500,000. Another 10 years, that's the money basically gone, because you're not earning anything in the bank. So you're just taking away. So that's about 20 years. And after 20 years, he's going to be out of money. Now, he's 60 years old. And he says that, he's gambling that in 20 years, when he's out of money, that then it won't matter anyway. He'll be 80 years old. He think he'll be dead. Well, he hope he be dead. But the problem is, the risk is, what if he don't be dead? What if 20 years, he's 60 years old, he not dead? Now he have no more money. And I had to remind him of this. I say things that cost $50,000 right now, your standard of living, 10 years and 20 years from now, the price is not going to be the same. That $50,000 is not going to have the same purchasing power that it has today in 2025, 20 years from now. So he said, Rob, what are you talking about? I said, listen, there's a strategy. That's why I like annuities. Some people say they don't like annuities because they tie their money up or they can't have access to it, but you can. There's different type of annuities. So I told him, I said, listen, what if I told you about, instead of having your money, your $1 million in that bank and getting $50,000 a year, you just do the math. 10 years, you took out $500,000, another 10 years, took out another $500,000. I said, we can transfer the $1 million out of the bank, put it into a guaranteed principal, fixed index annuity. They're not going to charge you annual fees. No. You take the $1 million and you transfer it to another account. They give you a bonus of 45%. He said, what does that mean? I said, so now the same million, when you transfer it to the annuity, they give you 45% match, which is $450,000 on top of the $1 million. He said, get out of here, Henderson. I said, yeah. So now instead of getting $50,000 off the $1 million, now you're going to get the $50,000 off of $1,450,000. He said, man, where do I sign up? See, that's the beauty of stretching your money and getting more bang for your buck. How do you work with what you have and make it better? Listen, each and every one of us, we've been dealt a deck of cards, so to speak, called life. Sometimes you can't work the game of life by yourself. Most of us can't. Most of us can't lean on our own understanding. It's really good if you get somebody like the Henderson Financial Group to tell you how to shuffle the cards, what to throw out, what to put in, what moves to make in order to make your hand called life better. And that's all it is. That's all it is. I don't know why would someone say, no, I don't need you. Because there's a lot of things. That's all we do is create better hands, better strategies for what you're working with. I read something that said only 10% of people in the country get financial planning advice. And that's different from just having your money in Fidelity or Vanguard. That's not financial planning advice. That's probably investment, so they can tell you where to put the money at, but that's not financial planning advice. You know what I mean, James? There's a big difference when I just gave that example of this guy having $1 million in the bank and he just drawing down $50,000. He can just do the numbers. In 20 years, he's out. And the cost of living is going to be, the stamp is not going to be the same as it is today, 20 years from now. That stamp's going to go up. Everything's going to go up. Bread prices, its cost of living is going to go up. So you're going to need to you got to earn at least 3% in order to keep with the cost of living going up 3%. That's why they give you a raise 3%, so you can try to keep in time with things and stuff. You know what I mean?
Now, wouldn't you think, Rob, that the banks would be kind enough to say that's what we'll do, give you at least 3%?
You said kind. You said it was banks would be kind. It's war, man.
What do you want to think? Because when you spoke on that, it took me back to a message that I had studied with Dr. Miles Monroe. He valued, quote unquote, the $1 million over the most valuable thing he has, time. Rob, and we do it all the time. We value stuff, money, all of that as being, wow, that's the answer. No, most valuable thing we have is time. And how we, like currency, Rob, how we spend it determines the type of life that we live.
Yeah, it really is. But most people feel that you have to, be financially astute. You have to know about all this stuff. No, you really don't. You just have to have an idea what you want. You just want to win. You want to survive. You may not know the move to make. That's why you come to someone like the Henderson Financial Group, and we tell you what moves, how to make things better. That's what we do. How to make your money stretch longer.
Now that was him spending good time, Rob. He was spending his most valuable currency of time talking to someone that shared a bit. It took you less than 60 seconds to tell him, in a comparison as to what he was doing, as to what he could do, which changed his life.
Yeah, that's all it takes. It's a conversation, sitting down, getting a different perspective. Information and following through and being proactive. That's what life's all about, man. Life is about sharing, growing, learning, that's what it's all about. Trying to, make yourself better and the people that are around you, who you love, and, your community. That's what it's all about. That makes you truly, truly happy when you've done that, I'm looking at Parnell, I'm looking at Norvik. Make sure y'all text me so I can send y'all the Living Trust link, because y'all definitely need to have that, and some of you other ones. I need to send you this link on Living Trust. James, for the last 2 weeks, I've been helping a lot of people to organize and put together their Living Trust. I just yesterday I just finished a captain of a major police department, and she said, Robert, I've been wanting to do this for 10 years. I'm so glad you stayed on me, and we got it done. And I helped her to complete the Living Trust. We work with an organization that wherever state you're in, they can create documentations for your state and adhere to the rules and the regulations of your state in creating a will or creating trust. This program that we have, we've been helping people, it cuts right to the chase. See, a lot of estate planning attorneys, they do a lot of things, they spend a lot of time going through probate, going through court. So that's why it takes a little longer. But when you have a situation where you just specialize in a will or trust, it's fast. They can do it. They don't have to say, I got to book you for 3 months from now, or it's going to take 3 months. You can do it in an hour, Yeah, you really can. So I have this information to help people, and it's really good. I really like it, James. It's all you have to do is call me, and I'll send you the link, and you can go on it and start putting in your information, and then you can call me and say, Henderson, help me with this. But I like it because it's so interactive. Meaning, once you click on the link, it says, do you want a will or a trust? And if you don't know, why don't we take a quiz? And it's a short quiz. I mean, it's not, you don't have to pass. In other words, there's no prerequisite. You need to know anything, it'll say, hey, are you married? Do you live alone? Stuff like that. But it's real quick. And most people say, oh Lord Jesus, I don't want that will. Once you learn, you say, oh man, I want this trust. You know what I mean? And it's really interactive. And every question says, what do most people do? If you don't know, because people are like, man, I don't know. Should I do this? Should I give a gift? Or should I give, leave something to my alma mater, or I mean, should I do a quick claim deed, take my house out of my name and put it into the living trust? Should I do that? And then you click right there and they say what most people do. It'll tell you most people, do this and do that. It's really, really good, I must say. And then it actually goes over. The main thing about creating a living trust is, first of all, you want to determine if you want a will or if you want to trust. You get educated. Okay, and that's not a whole lot of reading. You don't have to be at a certain level to understand this stuff. It's not, what I like about it is down to earth language. It's not attorney language, stuff that you don't even understand. It's really like ABC, And once you determine if you want a will or trust, most people say, yeah, I need a trust, but inside the trust, they'll create a will for you. Okay, it does that. It's AI or something. And then the next section, three major sections, that's the creating a will or trust, and you say trust. The next section is a power of attorney. Let's talk about a power of attorney. What is a power of attorney? Why do you need a power of attorney? Who should be your power of attorney? What kind of people, what kind of person should be your power of attorney? You can't have your slick Willie friend be your power of attorney. You know what I mean? It'll say that. It'll say someone who you can trust. A power of attorney is only good while you're alive. If you become incapacitated, someone that can actually do your bidding, sort of, that can help you. If you become incapacitated and you need someone to make certain decisions for you. And then the third biggest part is the healthcare directive. That's important, man. Healthcare directive is like, okay, if I'm in a hospital, I'm in a coma, do I not want blood, or do I want them to do a transplant, or anything that I don't want. And then it says, are you allergic to anything, penicillin, or are you allergic to certain things? And you just put it in there. But it's really, really good and very educational, and you learn a lot. And then the last part of it is just like your personal stuff. Do you have real estate? Okay, put the address in here. And the system creates that real estate to be inside your trust. It is really, really, really good. So I encourage you all. You can be, I don't care where you are. If you're in Florida, if you're in Georgia, and I encourage you all to share this information, because a lot of people don't know about what I'm talking about, don't have it. I got a call yesterday from a lady who's 61 years old. Her husband is 89 years old and gravely ill. And he has a reverse mortgage. And he had it before he married her. And she's concerned about she don't think that he's going to make it throughout this year. And she's concerned about, she's been married to him, for 10 years now. What's going to happen, to the house? Well, at first I told her she has 12 months after he passes, but she's even too young right now to even go on the reverse mortgage. So I gave her some advice. First of all, I said, you need to do this living trust just in case he don't wake up tomorrow. You don't have to go through probate because your name is not on the property. And he's 89. He has outside grown kids that may not like her as much because she's only 61 and he's 89. You know what I mean? So I educated her and told her, here's some defense you can guard against, where if he don't wake up tomorrow, and she says she really doubted if he's going to make it to the end of the year. I said, you need to be proactive. And then we'll deal with that reverse mortgage. I can tell you how to get that smoothed out also. So there's a lot of people that just don't know. And she was referred to me by an accountant. So I get accountants and attorneys from all over the country that'll call and say, hey, this is Sky Robert Henderson can help you with this strategy, because I love doing it,
Well, Rob, one of the things that we also, when you talk about that, is you hear stories all the time about how when someone did not plan, did not get any financial help, that once it goes through probate, it comes out with zip, with zero.
Fighting.
It's this is why the time is now. Most people, well, I'm healthy, I'm fine, but we all never know what is going to happen. For today, we are here today. We don't know everything that's going to happen today. There's storms. As a matter of fact, I spoke with our friend Kevin Cooper. I told him he's got to come on because up in Palm Beach County, where I live, we've been having hailstorms like crazy. I mean, Rob, I'm talking about multiple times a week, and it's still coming in. And the hail, I have never seen. I've never seen hail that big. Like quarters. I've heard of people talk about, oh, hail as big as golf balls and a golf ball size. No, hey man, I had to say, wait a minute. Come on, wait, what atmospheric pressure brings about this kind of reaction? So on my route to the studio this morning, I saw where people are set up, and it says hail and dent. Now, I don't know whether they're working with people who have hail and dent damage, and they're talking about we'll do the repairs, or they'll provide the service to help those people who have the damage get repairs. Because not only would repair, you need repair for your car, your vehicles, but I called our friend Kevin Cooper, and I said, you need to come on, because many people will get damage to their homes. And if they don't know where to go, what to do, or to get representation in regards to what your insurance policy, allows you to get in repairs. And Rob, hurricane season starts when? Tomorrow or today or whatever it is, in our area from now through November. So going back to what you're talking about and getting the advice, in preparing, in planning, the time to prepare and to plan is not once it happens. The time is now to prepare beforehand, so that you can get the information, speak with the people that can help you with whatever it is that you need done. And remembering one thing, no matter how much you own, how much money is in the bank, as Robert said, the guy said, hey, your most valuable asset is time.
Yes. And making sure you don't run out of your money.
Because if you run out of time and don't run out of money, you cool. But if you run out of money and don't run out of time, you are in a terrible fix, as they say.
Yeah, it really is. You really have to get your financial house in order, especially nowadays. I was just reading how Job Corps, they're slashing, they're cutting Job Corps. Job Corps has been around a very long time, and it helped a lot of people who didn't, wasn't good at, public schools, go and get a trade and take a course. It helped a lot of people, but the administration says no more. They cut that out, and then they said they're going to cut out Head Start too. So that helps a lot of people. There's a lot of change that are taking place. So right now is not the time to spend unnecessarily. I cannot express that more. And I'm not talking about a time of fear, because we're gonna be okay. But it's a time to have wisdom. It's not really a time to spend if you don't really have to. It's not really time to do a whole lot of luxury, unnecessary spending, because right now we're going through some trying times right now. A lot of change is taking place. So if you don't have to go out and buy a boat, if you don't have to go get a second home in another country right now, I think you need to kind of like tighten up. If you don't need to take some of your retirement and start building something, out of the country or whatever, building. I think right now it's kind of time to, be still and make sure that you have enough, because we don't know where this thing is going. Now, I'm not talking about fear. I'm talking about planning. I'm talking about being smart. I'm talking about not eating all your nuts. Okay? And I'm thinking about, when I say nuts, those of y'all know I like to use a squirrel as a metaphor. Squirrels eat the nuts right now, but they always save something for later on. And that later on is dealing with time, James. Like we say, TIME, that's time money. And you put it away, and you invest it. There's different places where you can actually put your money and not lose money. The stock market, man, I tell you, it's been very, very volatile, because the administration If they want to say one thing today, the market go up, and they can come back and say something tomorrow, and that market go all the way back down. That's very volatile. So if you retired and your money is going up and down like that, man, that creates a lot of stress and anxiety. You don't really know what's going to happen, you know? So when you retire, you really don't need to have your money in situations like that. You need to have stability, calm. You need to know. That's why people like the believe it or not, Social Security. And you know, I've always heard for the last 30 years. I mean, you know, people have been talking about Social Security in and out. Let me tell you something. If they end Social Security, and the US is gone. Because let me tell you something. There's so many people that don't look like me that depends on the Social Security. There are so many people. Man, let me tell you something. Whatever financial shape you're in, if you live in paycheck to paycheck, there's some people that don't look like me, are in rural areas. Man, you'd think it was a third world. Right now, they don't have internet, they don't have nothing, and they vote against their own, you know,
best interests.
They really do. You know, the mind is a terrible thing, but there's a lot of poor people. You think you poor, man, you ain't seen poor. If you think you poor, you haven't seen really poor. I ain't talking about another country. I'm talking about in America. Y'all haven't seen, man. There's some places in America. Oh my God, man, they poor.
Well, I mean, they're talking, Rob, about even that they're not funding FEMA as they once did. So when there's disasters, you know, in certain areas, where do you go and what do you do? And the first thing that comes to mind is our government will help us. Well, I don't think that's the feeling of people anymore, that the government is coming to the rescue.
No, I don't think the government's saying not doing that anymore. Somehow, you know, somehow it seems like a lot of people who don't have, you know, it appears like they're being punished. They don't know it yet, but by the end of this year, a lot of people are going to, the have-nots are going to feel it, and not going to be able to blame other people who integrated in this country like they're taking the jobs, because they basically gonna be gone. I mean, they're getting rid of a lot of the people that wasn't born in this country. They deporting them. So once they're gone, it's gonna be interested who wants to do those kind of jobs. And a lot of people, the pure black and the pure white, they ain't trying to do that kind of work. So that's gonna be interesting to find out how this thing is going to shape out. What I can tell you financially is it's time to get your financial house in order. It's time to not spend unnecessarily. You know, it really, really is. It's time to try to cut back on the debts, and it's time to really get a handle on those, you know, 29% credit cards, 30% credit cards, 18% credit cards. It's really time to get a handle on that. Now, if you feel like you're in too deep, all you got to do really just call the Henderson Financial Group, and we'll tell you how to quickly get rid of that stuff. But you have to have a plan. You have to have effort. You know, you have to be willing to help yourself. You know, we can only help those who want to help themselves. And that's scripture. You know, God makes one step. I mean, you make one step, God makes two. But you have to be proactive. And when you get a certain age, man, you're supposed to say, okay, I get it now, especially if you're over 40 years old, man. 40 years old, man, I'm going to tell you something. Nobody over 40 years old should have peer pressure. I'm going to say it again. If you are at least 40 years old, you should have did that, done that, been stupid, got some sense, went the wrong way. Now you turn around. By the time you're 40 years old, man, you should not have no peer pressure, because by the time you're 40 years old, you got to realize you're on your own, and ain't nobody gonna come to the rescue. You really, if you still thinking that somebody gonna help you outside of yourself, then you misinformed. By the time you're 40 years old, man, like I said, you should have said, okay, you should reflect and say, okay, dang, okay, I see how this thing going now. I did spend all my money one time. I was a fool. But man, now I know how to do it. I did go to Juicy Lucy and just give all my money, for some place. Now I know the next time that happened, I know, you listen, most of us learn from mistakes. And mistakes. I mean, if you take my shirt off and look at my back, man, I got all kind of whelps where I done been, punished in terms of making the wrong move. That's why I can tell you guys and be really honest with you, especially when it did doing financial stuff, trying to get rich quick. Let me tell you something. You need to run. Anytime somebody tell you how you can do something and get rich quick and it's easy, that's a sign. By the time you're 40 years old, you should know that's BS. Everything that's good takes time, and you have to plan and plant the seed, just like nature. It really does. And if you still, which I do see, 70, 80 years old in line, scratching off and, doing lotto. I don't understand that, because if you got the money, I don't know, you're trying to risk losing that money to get more money, and it's 10 million to one that you're going to win. I don't understand that, but that's a mindset,
Well, one of the things, Robert, is we really don't spend time focusing on ourselves. Going back to that value of the time. How do you spend your time? Worrying about, what other people might say, what they're doing, what they have. How do we really spend our time? Do we spend our time doing what you're saying? Oh, hey, sitting down with computer or with pen and paper, wherever we are, and reaching out and trying to say, okay, I'm going to plan. Not only am I going to budget my money, I'm going to budget my time, because am I doing something that's going to uplift me and my family? What am I investigating on? Do I have a vision? Where am I putting my energy? Is it all about whether the Knicks are going to win, lose, or Indiana is going to win or lose, or OKC is going? I mean, Doc, and when we look back, and as you said, dealing with our budget, when we also look back and how we budget our time, look at how much time we spend, that currency of time, how much time we spend on things that does nothing for us. But but as my rest in peace friend Dick Gregory says, it said sometimes some of the things that we do and some of the food that we eat, it's better to eat the carton that came in. You get more from that than you get from the cereal that's in it. So we're not getting anything, Rob. And I really think that people are saying, hey, it's cool. I'm all right. No matter what happens, I'm going to be all right. Well, that's good to say, but are you fooling yourself? Or are you truly saying, I'm going to do something? I'm going to call the Henderson Financial Group and I'm going to see, what do I need to do to first take care of me? Because, the Henderson Financial Group deals with your health, your wealth, your well-being, your family planning. If you saying, well, I'm going to take some advantage of some of the opportunities that are out there, because know that there are people that are taking advantage of the fact that you haven't done all that you could do for yourself. And now you're saying, well, I'm going to sell this house. You're going to sell what? And where are you going to live? Well, I'm going to go to the Y. Hey, Rob, I remember I had a friend that told me, and I didn't know that. I didn't know you could go to the YMCA and rent a room or whatever it was. And I don't even know where the YMCA is in our area, or if there is one. So come on, let's get wise.
Well, you're right. But when you were just talking, I thought about, because I always say it, and I get this age 40 thing. I get it from my own experience. By the time you're 40, I get it from my own experience, because I do remember before I turned 40 years old, I had a lot of I was doing what I'm doing, Henderson Financial Group, and I had a whole lot of entertainers, athletes, people that I spent a lot of time in New York and California, and I had a lot of music people as clients, a lot. And I remember before I turned 40, I remember God bless the dead. I remember Heavy D. Heavy D was a client, and he his birthday, and he had this big black tie orchestra birthday party, and it was like, you know, the Roaring 20s, so to speak. It was, man, it was so beautiful. And I said, man, when I turn 40, I'm gonna have that. I said, hey Jane, I said I'm gonna spend $50 or $100,000, and all my clients from all over the country is gonna fly in, and I was gonna have this big band and have all the food flowing, the bubbly champagne, and I was gonna celebrate being 40 years old because I had you know, as 40 was like a milestone for me. I'm 66 right now. I'll be 67 this year. That's, wow, Jesus, that time has really went by, huh? That's 27 years. But the way my mind was at the time, I was like 30. I mean, I actually started talking about what I was going to do and celebrate my 40th birthday when I was around 35. Can you believe that? When I was around 35, I was actually saying this big celebration when I turned 40, what I was going to do and how it was going to be all elaborate and everything. Do you know, when I was 39 years old, probably about 6-7 months before I turned 40, I was in bed, and Natalie had always heard me talking about, you know, when I turned 40, how I'm going to organize stuff. And like I had an epiphany, man. Like I had an awakening, man. And something says, you got to be one fool to spend all that money to feed people just because you turning 40 years old. You're going to celebrate. Now, I said to myself, they don't really love me. They love what I do for them. And I said I was going to do something that I had never did before. I said I was going to take, instead of having that big elaborate party, I said I'm going to go on a 7-day cruise. That right there, I had never been on a 7-day cruise by the time I was 40. Because just like I don't understand people that play lotto and gamble and scratch off, I don't understand that. I could not understand why would anybody, as much money as I was making and much as I was doing, I thought you had to be out of your mind to go on a ship in the middle of the ocean for 7 days and not be working or doing anything. That's how I was thinking. So when I was about to turn 40, I said, no, I'm not. I had this epiphany. No, I'm not going to spend all this money because people don't really love me. They love what I do for themselves. They don't really care about me. They love what I do. And I said, I'm going to take Natalie, my wife, and take my family, and I'm going to do something I never done, and I'm going to go for 7 days and go on a cruise. And I really did that. That's why I got this thing about 40. I think when you turn 40, man, you're supposed to really have a come to Jesus and say, well, who are you fooling? Who are you doing? Because let me tell you something. Peer pressure is acceptable when you're 16, 17, 18, like, you know, years old. The problem is when you have people 40, 50, 60 years old, still trying to impress their friends, still trying to impress co-workers on the job, and they actually hurting them themselves. You got to come to let me tell you, the sign of wisdom when you really come to a realization that you on your own. Anybody, listen, I don't mean to step on anybody's toes, but anybody, any dude, they got 4 or 5 homeboys they hang out with. I promise you ain't being all you could be because you got a groupie. Any woman, they got a group of women that they're around, 4 and 5 of them. They always doing something. They go on a girlfriend, all that. I promise you ain't doing all you can do because in order to get that wisdom, understanding, you got to feel alone. You got to feel like, okay, I'm by myself. Be honest with myself and do the things that you know you need to be doing. You could really slack when you have your homeboys and your friends because everybody always doing something. You just kind of like slack. Well, we're having a party. We're doing this. We're going to the cigar bar. We're hanging out. We're going to play. You do that when you're a kid. When you're a certain age, I'm going to tell you something, man. When you by yourself and like, hey, man, it's me and the world. I got to make something because ain't nobody going to give me nothing. You start breaking it down and studying and trying to be all you could be and deal with your weaknesses and your strength. You cannot do that with a group of people. You got to do it with yourself.
But Robert, what's the problem that you had at 40 is not as grave as the problem that people that are 40 and under now, because there's so many distractions. Oh, Rob, come on, Rob. Hey, there's so many distractions. And when you and I start talking about the things that we did and the cost, for the things that we did back then, it don't even compare anymore. I mean, people are flying out of the country, flying out of the country because I want to be able to say that I saw so and so and so in Paris, in Australia,
and they ain't got no money. They don't have no money.
Rob, but they got that card. Rob, they have that card.
It's different. It's different if you can afford it now.
Rob,
but we're talking about the people who can't afford it.
That's and no, I'm talking about the people who have not valued their time and have not planned. So if them 40 years, those 40 years has brought you to a level where, boom, hey, your income is far greater than your outflow, and you're saying, well, hey, I have access to this and this is what I want to do. And yes, I can't afford it. And when I come back, hey, I've got people taking care of my business, or, all my money is taking care of my business. So that's different. But so many people are going to find it rather difficult if they don't value time and spend that currency, in a way that when you cannot, quote unquote, pursue that purpose of that vision, that you can live a lifestyle with sound health, peace of mind, freedom from fear and worry, positive mental attitude. Come on, Rob, because these are things you can't purchase. But if you're going to be unhealthy, stressed out, not being able to help yourself, so you can't help anybody else. So, this is what I'm thinking now, being a 70-plus-year-old. As a matter of fact, hey, I tell them, if I counted the 280 days in the womb, Rob, 77. So if I hadn't done anything before 40, if I hadn't met Robert Henderson before 40, hey, as my uncle would say, I'd be in one hell of a shape.
Yeah.
And we began to plan, Rob. And you were sharing then.
Yeah.
So, I mean, 1980. So you're talking about 45 years ago.
Well, I mean, each and every one of us got to ask ourselves and look in the mirror by ourselves and be honest with ourselves and be our own judge and jury and look in the mirror and say, am I doing my best? Am I doing all that I could do? The prayer should be, God, please give me the wisdom and courage to be all I can be. That's the prayer. Not God, give me some money or praying for, that. The prayer should be, give me the wisdom and understanding where I can be all I could be. And being all you could be is a never ending story. That work is never done.
Ooh. But Rob, that's the key.
I mean, excuse
me. The greatest investment that one can make is in themselves.
Right. And I'm saying that's why if we really look at each of ourselves in terms of financial planning, just health, mind, body, and soul, we really should, if you in that mindset, constantly be working on oneself. I mean, I'm in my office 6 days a week. The only way I don't come to the office is on Sunday, but I'm always learning something. And right now, from all the webinars and the software, there's always something going on. Come on, with the administration in terms of laws and rules regulation, the Social Security, Medicare rules changing. I have to stay up on that. But then aside from that, what I really like, I'm still doing, I really feel good, me learning Spanish. I actually really still take up piano. I mean, and now I'm really taking classes on Chat GPT and AI. So it's always something, always something, always something. You follow me? So I'm saying each and every last one of you, if you ain't trying to better yourself and you slacking in some areas, this is your life. And only the strong going to survive. When you come to a certain level, you deserve to be at a certain level. But if you don't, then you don't deserve it. And if it's your life, you are the master. Each and every one of us are the masters of ourselves. How good do you want to be? And you don't need to get no award from nobody outside yourself. Within yourself, you got to be able to say, am I doing the best that I could be? That's what God created you to do now. Be all you could be. You know that. Ms. Vickers, Ms. Vickers, I need to do that living trust on you. Yeah. You say you need class. I'm telling you, where do as a matter of fact, they got one coming up in Miami Gardens. I think next Friday. Somebody sent me that link. Linda sent me that link. And I think earlier this week, I was downtown in Overtown. They had a free class for people. I mean, and then plus, I'm gonna tell you something. Then I got back. I looked on YouTube. You can actually go to YouTube and say beginner's understanding of Chat GPT AI. Cause it's not that AI is going to take over everything. You need to learn how to use it to your advantage. And then you become valuable to somebody who don't know how to do it. I don't care how old you are. That is a language right now. We all use it. When we talk to Siri or Echo or Alexa, I mean, we really all use it right now. But it's going to become more and more. We cannot escape that. Now, you can sit there with your head in the sand talking about you too old. No, you ain't too old to breathe. You're not too old to breathe. So you got to do that.
Yeah, I agree. And like I said, there are people out there that are doing some of the things that we're doing as well. They're reaching out to try to help you. Our friend Joy Reid just announced on yesterday that she's going to be, check it out on your social platforms, Google or whatever. Joy Reid, she just announced that she's going 3 days a week. She's going to start with her own platform. I think Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then hopefully to go to 5 days a week, wanting to inform and to bring in guests. And that's what we're going to do more of. I spoke earlier, for those who may have checked in late, that we're going to, bring in again Kevin Cooper, because Kevin can help us in better understanding what is happening throughout the country. And now, if all these agencies, governmental agencies, are being cut, how are you going to get the help that you need in case of a hurricane, a storm, a tornado, a flood? And Rob, do you know that they're doing blackouts, power blackouts throughout the country?
What do you mean they're doing power blackouts?
It's not just happening because of atmosphere. No. Yes, they're doing blackouts
based on purposely.
Yes, in certain areas, because
why would they do that?
Just like, so that the whole system does not go down. You were talking earlier about how we've always believed that America was there. America is the finest and the greatest, and we've got the best of everything. And you were saying, hey, there are people. If we think that where we live, we see homeless and poor and people that don't have shelter, don't have food. This is where and when we see it in other countries, we say, "Whoa, are they?" Hey, no, it's going to be war are we, because we're going to see more of it. when farmers are saying, hey, we can't even operate because our workers are not coming to work because they're afraid of government coming in and saying, where are your documents? So, happened to be in a restaurant. Won't call the name. It was about maybe 10 or 12 of us, gentlemen. And we were talking about, oh man, why is the service so slow? And I said to everybody at the table, I said, hey man, we're going to have to realize that the workers that was making it so that we could have the convenience of fast food and all of that and great service. I said, many of those workers are not working. And it's not because they don't want to work. It's out of that fear of being detected as not having the proper paperwork. And the server came back and apologized before all of us. After I had said that, she said, I just want to apologize. We're going to get the soup out first and we're going to get the salads out first, but we only have one cook. Place was packed. Wow. Can you imagine one cook cooking for 40 or 50 people? What, Rob? One cook. One cook. This is what she said. So, and all of a sudden we're going to realize the inconvenience of what we thought, oh, it's going to be all right. We're going to be all right. Oh, are we going to be all right? Have you planned to be all right? What have you done to make it all right? What are you doing to make it all right? What and how are you wasting time or being distracted from becoming a better you?
Yep. Let the church say amen. These are hey, we got changing times, brother. Hey, they say only the strong gonna survive.
Hey, well, and that's not your muscle. That's gonna be two things, up here and heart, and that's not that muscle in your chest either. The heart is who are you really, and what are you purpose really to do?
Well,
but man, it's great. Check out. Hey, I want to say check out Joy Reid. I want to promote that. Hey, Google her, check it out. I think it starts. I forget what date it starts, but hey, and we'll probably have to have her on too, Rob. Bring her on and let her promote what she's doing or tell us, what she's doing. Joanne Reid. She's a friend of the Henderson Financial Group and a friend of mine. And we really do want to support her efforts as she steps out, Rob, to do her own thing. Yeah, to do her own thing. Yeah,
that's a good idea, man. We definitely have her, and let's get Kevin Cooper on. See if we can get him on next week too.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'll give him a call and we'll try to set that up because, like I said, hurricane season is here. We're having storms. Yes, we're seeing tornadoes and people losing their homes, their cars, and everything, and they're waiting for the cavalry to come. And the cavalry is not the government. The cavalry is what did you do? What kind of insurance plan did you have? Where can you go? What did you play? As Rob says, what's in that bag of nuts that you have? Is the bag empty? Or you living from paycheck to paycheck, and now you're saying, "Hey, we need help." But I saw what happened in St. Louis, particularly in the Black community there, and where homes were wiped out, and they were just begging for people to come into the community to help the community to give away free food. They weren't waiting. They couldn't wait for the government to do it. So people had to take it upon themselves to go in to help these people, to provide, just to have a basic meal. And some of the companies in the area were doing it as well. But hey, so we have to prepare so that, not so much when we need, we have, but when others need, we also have so that we can give.
Information. V just said she just subscribed to her YouTube page and to support her,
Yeah. Oh, good.
Yep.
Yeah.
Islam say, hey, U.S. bonds at risk downgrade. Yeah, absolutely. Is what does it matter? they downgraded some of the bonds for U.S. in terms of the stability. Um, they don't really know what this administration is going to do. They really don't. Uncertainty is not knowing. It's like somebody like if you're a woman, you don't know if you're gonna get married or not. This guy say he might not. Or you go interview for a job and you they tell you did good, but they didn't call you. Just the anxiety, not knowing how to plan. So right now, there's a lot of businesses that just don't know how to plan, and planning and knowing and having certainty is the fabric of a good economic system. Being sure, knowing what you got, knowing who you want on your team, knowing what to expect. That's how you plan. But when you're in a state where you don't really know because things could change, it's really hard to plan as a country, as U.S. businesses. So that's what's happening right now. And that's why I say, I want you all to not go out and spend frivolously all these shiny cars and all this unnecessary spending, man, and credit cards, because you got to buckle down and you got to really be proactive and you got to keep your money to your chest. Invest it, but you don't want to invest it in the stock market. Is very valuable, very volatile. I would say, let's put it more into insurance to make sure your insurance, you don't lose a dime products. And I've been leaning toward that a whole lot lately because I want guarantees, making sure I don't lose a dime, Yeah, we like stocks and everything, but right now, it's like when the sharks are out, and the sharks are right there. It's time to go in and wait till they pass. It's timing is everything, It's like when it's raining, you don't go outside when it's raining, but it don't mean it's going to rain forever. That's the good thing about it because we've been here before, And like you say, James, this is in Florida. 6 months from June to November, it's hurricane time. So, you got to be on the watch out for a storm or a hurricane. You not that you live in fear. You just know the possibility of what could happen.
Right. Preparation.
Time we're in. Yeah.
Preparation. And Rob, one of the things that I think we've lost, and we've always been fooled to believe that we had checks and balances in our government, but the checks are not balancing. The checks are not balancing,
Yeah.
And now we figured, hey, if everything below the Supreme Court went wrong, that when it went to the Supreme Court, it would get corrected. Wrong again. So be very careful. One of my favorite sayings is quit begging people to do for me what I can do for myself. So once I can do all of that, then hey, it comes to faith. And I guess it's about that time too for us to deal with faith.
We need prayer, bro. We need prayer.
I'm gonna take my prayer from my brother John Davis today. We have a family chat and he sent this out. He said, join me in praying, Lord, that we stay united in our pursuit of Christ. We pray to maintain our spiritual progress and remain faithful to how we've already become Christ-like, trusting that God will reveal deep truths as we continue to walk in obedience. And Mr. Henderson has been presenting deep truths as we will hopefully obey. And it's taken from the scripture, Philippians 3:15-16, where it says, let those of us who are mature think this way. And if in anything you think otherwise, God will reveal that also to you. Only let us hold true to what we have attained. We have been given, the blessing of time. How are we going to spend that currency? God bless us. Hey, have a great weekend, everybody.
The church say amen. Have a great weekend and be safe out there, right? Same time, same station. We'll be back here next week. Much love, peace. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend.